Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Arjun and I finally saw my most anticipated movie of this year, No Time to Die. So this is going to be my review for the movie. So No Time to Die is the final James Bond film starring Daniel Craig, and I was really excited to watch this movie because I really enjoy Daniel Craig's James Bond films. Now, as a point of reference, I have not seen every single James Bond movie. I've only seen the Daniel Craig ones, so I don't have too much knowledge of the character, but I am a fan of Daniel Craig's run as James Bond. So I was really excited to see this and how it was kind of going to conclude his storyline. So before I share my thoughts on this movie, guys, let me know down in the comments, what did you guys think of No Time to Die? And kind of give me a point of reference. Are you like me? Are you kind of new to the franchise? Or are you someone that's been watching for a long time? I'd love to know your thoughts. With that said, let's get started talking about the movie. And I thought that this movie was a perfect conclusion to Daniel Craig's run as James Bond. It was emotional, it was action-packed, and it was also very thrilling to watch, and I just had a great time watching this movie. One thing that really affected my enjoyment of this movie is that all of the other movies kind of impact what happens in this movie as well. You kind of see how all the other movies have kind of changed Bond a little bit, and when you get to this point in time, he's a very different character than he was at the beginning of Casino Royale. I rewatched Casino Royale a few hours before No Time to Die, so when I saw that movie and then I saw No Time to Die, I definitely saw the change in his character, and it's very drastic, and you kind of see how all those events have impacted him as a person, as a character. And because of that, because we saw him grow through all these movies, we have kind of a personal attachment to this character, and I really like that because that way I actually cared about him more, and when things happen in the movie, it felt a lot more emotional than it would have normally felt. I also think that this is Daniel Craig's best performance as James Bond. Like, just his performance here was really good. I really enjoy his performances in all the other movies as well, but here it felt a lot more emotional and a lot more personal, so I really loved that about it. I thought the other characters were also quite good. I enjoyed Madeline Swan a lot more here than Inspector. Inspector, I just couldn't buy into her and James Bond's relationship, but here it made a lot more sense, and it just worked better for me. I thought the acting and it just felt a lot more natural. I also like the new 007. She isn't like a replacement for James Bond, but she is kind of the new 007. She kind of took over his job, and I guess that's kind of a replacement, but I really enjoyed her as well. She kind of had a mutual respect, her and James Bond, they kind of had mutual respect for each other, and that made me like her character more, because generally speaking in movies, they kind of have, the two characters have conflict and stuff, but no, here they actually felt like they respected each other, and that made me enjoy both of their characters a little bit more. Now, she is kind of a side character. She doesn't kind of have a main role in the movie, but when she was there, she was pretty enjoyable, so I would like to see a movie just about her. I think that would be pretty interesting. There's, of course, other side characters too, like M, Q, and Felix. They return as well, and they kind of have minor roles in the movie, and when they're in it, they're pretty good, and I really enjoyed them. Ana de Armas is also in the movie. I'm not sure how to say her name. I hope I said it right, and I thought she was great. She was in the movie, and when she was in it, she was just amazing. She's not in too much of it, but when she was there, I just had a big smile on my face. She was really fun. She had a lot of great funny moments, and her banter with James Bond was great. And when she was doing action sequences, she was just perfect. I really enjoyed her in almost every single way. Like, once that scene was over, like the sequence with her in it, I was like, I need a spin-off about this character, like, right now. I just absolutely loved her character, and I had a great time watching her in the movie, so I'd love to see a spin-off about her. Now, it is a James Bond movie, so you have to talk about the action, and the action here is really good. Now, this doesn't necessarily have the most action in all of the James Bond films, but I would say that it has the best action. I think out of all the Daniel Craig Bond films, this one just has the best action. It was able to capture me the most, and it was choreographed really well, it was shot really well, and some of it was pretty brutal, so I really enjoyed that. The movie also has a variety of action sequences. It's not like the same thing happening over and over again, so it always feels fresh. There's like a bunch of gunfights, there's chase sequences, there's hand-to-hand combat, and all of them are really done well, so I really loved the action in this film. I also thought the cinematography in the movie was great. It was shot really nicely, and it was just beautiful to look at. The music by Hans Zimmer was great. Hans Zimmer is probably my favorite composer working right now, and he just does a perfect job of capturing every single scene in the movie. When it's emotional, there's emotional music, and it's great. When it's very, like, exciting and fun, there's a lot of exciting music as well, and especially in the action sequences. The music really amped up the action for me. and that made the movie even better. I also really liked the opening song by Billie Eilish. I thought it was pretty good. It's not my favorite opening song of all the Daniel Craig Bond films. I do think the one from Casino Royale, You Know My Name, and the one from Skyfall were better, but it still was really good, and I've been listening to it quite a bit since I saw the movie, so I did really like the opening song as well. Now, like I mentioned, this movie is also very personal and emotional, and I loved that. I think that made me really enjoy the movie a lot more, and by the end of it, it felt a lot more satisfying and just made me enjoy the film in a way that I did not expect to in a James Bond movie, because James Bond movies are usually a lot more fun than they are emotional. Now, I did have some minor issues with this movie. Like I said, minor issues. It's not any big issues. And some of these they don't really impact my enjoyment of the movie too much, but I just wanted to mention them because there's still some criticisms. I thought the movie was a little too long, and definitely I felt the slow pace a lot. While watching it, I thought as a whole it was pretty good, but when the slow moments were happening, it just felt very slow, and I feel like they could have trimmed some of that out so that way the movie could have just been a little more fast-paced. With that being said, though, I do think the slow moments really added to the payoff because they're very personal and emotional. When you get to the end of the movie, I think it pays off really well. So I'm kind of having mixed feelings on that. I might have to rewatch the movie to just kind of understand how I feel about the slow moments. But I think it's mostly mixed feelings because I'm not sure if I like it or I don't like it. But as a whole, I'll say this. It did feel pretty good by the end of it, but while watching the scenes, it was pretty slow. I also didn't love the villain. I thought Rami Malek did a pretty good job with the performance. He was intimidating. He had really good makeup, like with his face. He had some pretty good moments, and I thought his performance was also pretty good, but I just didn't like his motivation and his writing that much. And I just didn't understand where he's coming from. Like, when you have a villain like Lashif, who's very understandable, you understand where he's coming from and why he's doing what he's doing. He's from Casino Royale. But here, he just doesn't have that, in my opinion. He just didn't feel like someone with a deep motivation. And once I finished watching the movie, I loved everything about it. But then I was like, I just didn't understand why the villain was doing what he was doing. Still, I enjoyed him. I thought his performance was great. He was still intimidating. But I just didn't understand his motivation. And I feel like they could have explained that a little bit better. And my final issue with this movie would be that it has some plot conveniences and some logic problems. It's mostly with the nanobot things. I won't spoil anything, but if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It just felt too convenient, and I feel like they just used that for a bunch of things instead of just explaining them in a different way. I can forgive that. A lot of movies use things as plot conveniences, so I can forgive that as a whole, but I would have liked it if they actually did something better than that. But yeah, as a whole, I thought this was a great movie. It was a great conclusion to Daniel Craig's run as James Bond, and it really delivered on what I wanted. With all that being said, guys, I'm going to give No Time to Die an A. On an entertainment scale, I'm going to go a 9.25 out of 10. This might be my favorite movie of the year so far. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it just really delivered on what I wanted from the final James Bond movie starring Daniel Craig. If you haven't seen the movie yet, guys, I definitely recommend it. Go support this movie. It really deserves as much support as it can get. Watch it in theaters. You'll have a really good time. But if you have seen it, let me know down below in the comments, what did you guys think of No Time to Die? If you enjoyed my review, be sure to leave a like. It really helps me out. And subscribe to my channel for more content. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.